She had over 7,000 skydives, and it only took 2 feet to change everything. Today's guest is Becca Critchfield. What happened to her in 2021 should have ended her life. Instead, it forced her to rebuild it from the inside out. This isn't just a story about an accident. It's about what happens when everything you thought you were disappears, and what you find out about yourself when it does. Welcome to the Grandpa Channel. I'm Steve Harris, but my grandkids call me Rivers. Here we ask a simple question. What did life teach you the hard way? Because a lifetime reveals things you can't learn any other way. On this show, we sit down with people who lived a little, stumbled a little, and learned a few things along the way. Sometimes the stories are funny. Sometimes they're tender. But the best ones carry a little hard-earned wisdom. So pull up a chair, because what a lifetime reveals can steady another.
I caught a weird bubble of air and it dropped me about 2 feet. I had over 7,000 skydives. I never even broke a toe. And I landed on my head and it broke my neck. And 2 feet was all it took.
Becca has a remarkable story that I'd love for her to tell us.
I did my very first skydive when I was 17 years old. I'm terrified of heights. My mom convinced me to try it. And it changed my life. I realized that I can own the fear and respect it, but still control myself within it in the sky. I was a full-time skydiver for 11 years. I have over 7,000 skydives. I just caught a weird bubble of air and it dropped me about 2 feet. And 2 feet was all it took. Broke my neck at C3. I was lucky enough to be at a drop zone that had someone on staff that had medical training. He got me intubated, breathing. This 22-year-old kid saved my life. That was kind of a massive turning point for me. I was in the hospital for 3 months, and my family moved to Utah to take care of me, and still here, still hypothetically kicking.
Before the loss of conscious memory, what were you thinking?
Remember almost anything from that whole day. I'm really grateful, honestly, that those memories are protected. And I've been skydiving 3 times since my accident, and no flashbacks, no fear, because to me it's just something that I've loved for a really long time, and I don't have that PTSD.
How has this accident made a difference in your life?
I am so much more patient. All I can do is shrug my shoulders. I can't do anything else. I think the world feels a lot bigger in some ways, because I feel like you just don't know what you can handle. In some ways, the world's a lot smaller because I can't travel very easily. I'm a completely different person.
What would you tell yourself at age 33, your 20-year-old self, looking back?
Enjoy it while you got it.
Yeah.
Be grateful for every squat at the gym.
Really?
Oh, yeah. You don't know how much you miss it, because I really do. It's like the day-to-day things that I miss the most.
When you wake up in the morning, Becca, what are the first thoughts that sort of hit you?
Yeah, when I wake up in the morning, my husband's usually stretching me, like my arms and legs and stuff, to get blood flowing and keep me limber. My goal is to keep my body as healthy as I possibly can. I have accepted the fact that I'm most likely going to be a quadriplegic my entire life. But I also see the advancements in science that are happening, and you just never know. So my goal is just to stay as healthy and as active as I possibly can until it's my turn. But yeah, I've moved past a lot when it comes to just the daily reality. Every now and then it'll hit me, but that's usually in the middle of the night when I can't sleep and I just want to toss and turn without having to wake someone up to do it for me. I think that's probably one of the hardest times.
Yeah. I'm really dying to know this. Tell me about your courtship of you and your husband.
Yeah, we met online. We met on Facebook dating, but we like to joke that we met on Facebook Marketplace. So it was a pretty quick deal. 3 months in, we were talking about, like, where's the ring? I was 32 and he's 36, and our first date, we went to a restaurant there and talked and laughed and got to know each other, and went on 4 dates that first week. And then after that, I've seen him every single day since. So, yeah.
For better or worse, right?
Yeah, he's a good man. And I mean, I kind of just met him at the perfect time.
But my theory is that dating and courtship, it's much like in real estate where it's location, location, location. With dating and stuff, it's timing, timing, and timing.
Timing, timing, and timing.
And, do you consider yourself a woman of faith?
I do.
Rebecca. And then were you
especially now
a woman of faith before the accident, or did the accident sort of intensify your relationship with God?
Both. I was raised Christian, and I always believed in God, and I went through a lot as a kid that I don't think I would have survived without faith.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, especially since my accident, my belief in miracles, because I'm a roll and talking miracles.
Yeah, there you go. Go.
Exactly. I mean, there's about 1,000 reasons why I shouldn't be here on this call right now. I've even talked to my neurosurgeon who took care of me the night of my injury, and he said I was the hardest case he'd ever had. The 99% of the patients in my condition don't even live long enough to make it to the operating table. After my accident, my face was described as mush. I broke both eye sockets, my nose. I had multiple facial fractures.
Yeah.
They said the bones in my face were shifting around as they were trying to get an airway.
Yeah.
And then from there to when I landed at the hospital, my face looked like me. I didn't have to have any facial reconstruction surgery. I didn't have to have any eye surgery. I know. Wow. So somehow on the helicopter ride from the landing area to the hospital, God healed my face.
Wow, that's incredible.
Can't say, oh, you're so lucky.
Yeah. No. I'm a believer in divine coincidences, not just coincidences. And I do know that God is intimately involved in our lives. You are just this talking, existing mega example of that.
Absolutely.
Were there some tough things you can tell me about or want to talk about growing up that were hard for you?
Yeah, I mean, well, how dark do you want to go? I was sexually abused by an older family member for 9 years, from 4 years old to 13. And as much as I love my family and how we operate, I do believe that I should have been kind of forced to go to therapy when I was 13. Mm-hmm. Instead, I was very angry as a teenager and had more of a hard time finding my place in the world because love seemed like a illusion in a way. But my parents are very loving and they're such an incredible example to me of what love looks like. But like in my early 20s, I mean, I cheated on my boyfriend. I had no grasp on what love should look like for me. And he's a saint, and he confronted me with some hard truths, and he's like, you're not the nice person you think you are, and you need help. And I took that to heart, and I got in therapy the next day, actually, and it changed my life. And I've had so many experiences where I expressed to someone about my childhood stuff, and they're like, oh my gosh, me too. And I've never told a soul.
Really?
It just breaks my heart that people are so afraid to tell truth. And there are so many silent lies and silent truths too that people just don't talk about. And my childhood shaped me into the woman that I am today. Very resilient. I believe that God can help me through anything. And at the end of the day, truth should win.
How did you get past all of the things you've just been describing? Did you have some heavenly help to help you forgive, or
I'm just really good at pretending like it doesn't exist. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a day-by-day thing. It really just depends. Like,
yeah.
I don't think about my childhood trauma often. It's not something that rules my life by any means.
Yeah.
I have cut that person out of my life, even though he's family, and I do love him dearly, and I wish the best for him, but he's not the best for me to be around, and we don't live in the same state, so that's good. But, I think the hardest was, like, knowing that he's a person in my family that should have been invited to my wedding, and knowing that I couldn't. I think that was the most head-on I've ever had to take it, and writing a letter to him explaining why he was not invited to my wedding was tricky, but I was really proud of myself for sticking up for myself and not just taking the easy road out.
I'm proud of And I'm not even
Thanks.
part of your family.
Thanks. Yeah, it was hard. It's definitely hard because he's very much, my parents are in contact with them, and I don't want that to change because they love him dearly. But everyone knows the truth and they respect that I need boundaries, and everyone's so far been very respectful of that. So yeah, it's pretty grateful for that.
I'm really interested to hear what are the things in life from the past and now that bring you the most joy and happiness, Becca?
I love my friends. I have such a great community of friends all over the world. I do a thing called Tater Tuesdays, and I have since a few months after my accident, where on Tuesdays we throw a bag of potatoes in the oven, and people just come on over, have a glass of wine, baked potato, and just hang out. And you never know who's going to show up. It's very much like open house style, and it's just kept me really connected with my community over the years. I feel like people in my condition have a really hard time maintaining friendships and staying relevant in their circles. And that was one thing that I just was like, I will die without my people. So I'm going to find a way to keep us together.
Great idea.
That's been really fun.
I am a non-sky jumper, never tried it. With my aging knees, I probably won't try it. But I want you to describe for me what it's like to jump out of a plane. What do you experience? What made you do it 7,000 times?
Sanity. I have this weird analogy that I experienced on my very first jump. The way that particular aircraft works, you kind of have to like crawl your way out the door and then hold on for dear life.
Oh.
And so I remember this very specific moment on the edge where I was holding the door frame with both hands. And have you ever read The Secret Garden?
I have, yeah.
Okay, so you know how she's climbing the wall and she doesn't know what's on the other side, but she decides she wants to find out. That's what it felt like for me.
Really?
Fear either controls me and I stay in the plane, or I control the fear and I see what's on the other side of this. And then I let go of the door. And it was just like the most empowering, freeing experience. And you don't feel like you're falling. You don't get that stomach in the throat feeling. It's very much like it's just windy with a heck of a view. And I found that I love teaching. I love it. I love guiding people from that fear to the other side. Like that. It's so empowering. It's so beautiful to watch people work through their fear.
Wow.
I liked that better than even jumping.
Really?
Yeah, the jumping's cool, but it was the people that I met along the way and getting to teach that I missed the most.
Was there a teaching moment where you helped somebody get out of the plane? It kind of comes to your mind, or you had to use all of your powers.
Considered myself a part-time therapist.
Yeah.
Literally. Yeah, there was this woman in Oceanside, California, who was terrified, and she wouldn't go. The whole plane went. I was like, let's go around one more time, give her one more chance. And we just sat there, and I like locked my arms around her, and I just held her, and I was like, let's talk this through. And we did, and then she went, and she landed, and she was just sobbing. She's like, I've never felt so strong.
Really? Yeah.
And then I've had women that I had one that I had just left an abusive relationship. Under canopy, I was like, so tell me your story. She's like, well, my husband's girlfriend's having his baby right now. And I said, screw you, I'm going to go jump out of a plane. Yeah. I was like, whoa, it's kind of heavy sometimes, but like, you get to be there for such a pivotal moment in these people's lives. It's special.
In your current state, we're all in current states. What is something or things that you wish people knew about you, Becca, right now that would maybe make them a little more empathetic, or maybe
I think that
open their eyes?
The only thing that my neck is broken, but I'm not broken.
Yeah.
And when I meet new people, they don't know how to treat me because they've never seen anybody on a ventilator. They've never seen anybody that drives a chair with glasses on their face. Like,
yeah,
I'm very different.
Yeah.
But I'm not fragile. I still enjoy food and being around people and doing things. And yeah, I may not get on the roller coaster with you, but I'll go eat a churro at the park with you, like that kind of thing.
Yeah.
people hesitate to invite me places, I think, because accessibility is a pain and all that. And I would rather people invite me and me say no than feel left out. But yeah, I think just people need to be more confident around people with disabilities because they're just not exposed to it.
I will tell you that in my life, I haven't been around a lot of people with disabilities, so it's not one of the strong points. And I'm so glad to be able to talk to you, and you're just a fountain of wisdom. What would you consider to be one or two or even more of your superpowers?
I'm not afraid to do scary things.
I love that, yeah.
Whether it be public speaking or getting on a podcast with a stranger or going on a date with someone in my condition and be like, we're going to dinner, will you feed me? It's a little awkward, but you just kind of have to get past it and do the scary thing, or you're never going to progress, you're never going to grow, and you're never going to be the person that you aspire to be, right? I would say my other superpower, I love to bring people together. Like, I collect strange people and just people in general.
Yeah.
And I think weirdos have the best stories, and you never know what's going to happen. And it's just fun from all walks of life. I mean, that was something I really loved about skydiving is it was a mutual ground that we all had, that you get on an airplane with a doctor, a lawyer who's been living in their van for 5 years, someone who lives in the tent outside the hangar. And there's just all walks in life that love the same things.
Kind of a dark question, but in the last few years, have you had dark moments where you just thought, I don't know?
The summer before was the hardest summer of my life. I, over the winter, was doing really, really well. And I was like, I don't need to be on anxiety, depression meds anymore. I'm good. Everything's great. And so I weaned myself off, and I was doing quite well. And then my youngest brother passed away in 2018. And I grieved it really hard. Really hard. It was like brand new. And that happened in the end of June. The anniversary of my accident is in July. And then in August, my best friend passed away. He was my person, and we lived together for years. And I call it my soulmate, like my platonic soulmate. And she died skydiving.
Boy, wow.
And what got me out of that, I think, was summer being over. I hate the summer. I don't like being hot. I'm in a big black wheelchair that holds me really tight, and it's hot. And I can feel just enough of my body to know that I'm hot and uncomfortable.
Right.
And get real crabby about it.
Yeah.
And in winter with the University of Utah, we do adaptive skiing, which just gets you out on the mountain and doing something different, doing something fun, learning a new sport. And in fact, next weekend we have the adaptive ski race out of Powder Mountain, and we're hopefully going to be in the Winter Olympics in 2032.
Do you have anything that you're just dying to tell this vast audience?
I would say my biggest takeaway from my life up to this point, and I've said it before earlier, but you just never know what you can handle till you have to.
That's it for today's episode of the Grandpa Channel. If something you heard made you laugh, pause, or see life a little differently, pass it along. We're gathering the lessons people learn the hard way, the stories, the second thoughts, and the wisdom that only comes with time. And we'd love to hear yours. What did life teach you the hard way? Until next time, keep the perspective honest and the stories coming. I'm Rivers, and I'm out of here.